first year. Why do you nominate George Washington?
Well, because he basically had to start from scratch. He also set the tone for what the president was by refusing to be a king. And not only did he help win independence for this country, but he felt he had a moral obligation to do the best that he could for this country, and basically started everything. So I think looking at people who give people things and looking at the real current presidents doesn't give a very good picture. The history actually needs to be taken into perspective.
Yeah, Mark, thanks for your call. Annette Gordon-Reed, it's sort of hard to argue with nominating the man who invented the presidency.
The very first one. I would actually put in a plug for Jefferson in a sense, because his election in 1800, it's called the Revolution of 1800, or he called it that, but it was a change the first time you had a peaceful transfer of power from one party to another. And so he spent his first year in office trying to reassure people that there would not in fact be strife in the streets and riots and all kinds of things that people predicted. Presidents, I think, always in times of turmoil in particular have, or at the beginning, as with Washington, have a lot to do in that those first years, because it, as Taylor Brandt said, it sets the tone for what happens later on.
Let's take a call from Chris in Austin, Texas. Chris, welcome to Talk to the Nation.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
A little bit different perspective. I think the Harding administration really had a great first year because they didn't have any grand schemes for the American people. In fact, it ran on a platform of returning to normalcy after the turmoil and distress of World War I in that era.
So this is the set expectations low and know you'll meet them model?
Well, why do we have to have such grand expectations in the first place? The U.S. Constitution has a very limited role for the U.S. president, and I think he faithfully executed that position while in office.
Chris, thanks for your call. Well, I would not have expected to hear Warren Harding on this list. I think maybe by the end of the hour we might get everyone but Millard Fillmore.
Or Andrew Johnson I could throw in as well as too for Reconstruction, another sort of sad example of the first year, but sort of spurred Congress and other people to do different things. But anytime there's a crisis, I do think that presidents try to do things because there are always things to be done in the country. It's a limited role for the presidency, more limited role for the presidency, but the president is the sort of energy of the country, and there are expectations about movement from the person who occupies that office.
And Chris in Austin, the caller, had a good point that it's not just what you accomplish in a vacuum, it's what you were expected to accomplish as well.
Yeah.
And certainly that's relevant in the context of the current president. Let's take a call from Sid in Sonoma. Sid, welcome to Talk to the Nation.
Good morning. Thanks for taking the call.
Sure.
I think we can't forget Teddy Roosevelt, who coming in on the heels of a series of presidents that some would say were bought and paid for, came in wanting to reform everything, from reforms in food safety and mining safety and railroad safety. There was a huge rate of operator injuries, and expanding the office of president to something, the first person to expand it to something resembling an imperial presidency, and like to be made aware of problems and call in his cabinet and say, can I simply write a presidential order and fix this?
Ted, thanks for your call. Yeah, you know, Ted Roosevelt, he's one of those presidents who, it seems like in popular culture, has become more of a caricature than an actual historical figure, and so we maybe sort of popularized this kind of Rough Rider, a bunch of rowdy children character, rather than someone who actually was an effective legislator. And yeah, Taylor Brandt, go ahead.
Well, I think that's fair, but I think he's also an apt comparison for Obama, or at least for the challenge of Obama, because Roosevelt really believed that there were a lot of constrictions in the American system of huge dominant trusts and large corporations that really challenged the government to establish, to act as a countervailing power to create a fair playing ground so that the progressive era could take hold. And Similarly, I think we're stuck now, and President Obama is stuck